All right, guys, this is Millie Weaver reporting to you for Infowars.com, and I am here in the beautiful Colorado mountains at the Garden of the Gods. I mean, this is an amazing, beautiful place to be. You can see right behind me we have the gorgeous Pikes Peak, and we're going to be talking to you guys about the beautiful state of Colorado, which happens to be one of the states that has announced sanctuary cities. Now, we know that Denver has declared itself a sanctuary city where a lot of illegal immigrants have gone to, and they've had problems now with homelessness and people, littering the streets with human excrement and disease and other problems, such as, we've had those problems in California as well. But I really wanted to talk to you guys about DACA. Now, the DACA deadline was scheduled for tomorrow, March 5th. And as we know, the Democrats have essentially destroyed that deadline. Now, what President Trump was hoping to do with the DACA deadline was he was hoping to essentially make it so that the Democrats' hands was forced so that they would then come together with the Republicans and create a DACA bill, which would include budgeting for a Trump wall, and we know that Trump said, we're going to build the wall and Mexico's going to pay for it. But I'll tell you what, he will have Mexico pay for the wall. There are many ways to do that. It's not just having the money up front. What he can do is he can apply tariffs and other things like that onto goods that Mexico is importing into the United States. So yeah, he can make Mexico pay for the wall one way or another. However, let's get back to the point here with the DACA. Now, DACA was supposed to go down tomorrow. The deadline was going to happen, and it was going to mean that 1,000 work permits for DACA recipients were going to expire starting on March 5th and continue every day, 1,000, boom, boom, boom. So we're talking, that's 1,000 more jobs opening up for Americans that these DACA recipients would then be losing because their work permits were expiring. Now, a California judge and a New York judge decided to take matters into their own hands and halt the DACA expiration that Trump had put through. And so now we're waiting for the Trump administration to appeal that, which won't happen until June. So essentially, now we have to wait until June until we can find out whether or not the Trump administration will successfully be able to appeal this judge's order, and then we're going to start having DACA recipients lose their work permits. Now, some people would say, "Oh, that's cold-hearted. That's wrong. That's mean to have these people lose their work permits," but you have to remember, these people came here illegally, and yes, they were with their parents. Many of them were young children, but a lot of them weren't. A lot of them were older, teenagers. They had a lot of 17-year-old, 18-year-old, even some 19-year-olds coming in under the DACA program and essentially making it so that you had this large influx of people working here and affecting the job market for American citizens. So, all in all, guys, we've got this mess here. The Democrats are trying all they can to back out of having to come together for legislation. They do not want Trump to be able to have his budgeting and what he needs for the wall. That's why they're now backing out of any type of negotiations with the Republicans on a Dreamers Act. And they're essentially walking away from that now because they're trying to take it up via the Supreme Court and the courts. Oh, now that the higher court judges have halted this decision, saying that that the Trump administration violated federal regulations by essentially halting the benefits to the DACA, dreamers, now what you're having here is the lower courts are then using that ruling to then still grant these DACA recipients their new permits that the Trump administration said, all right, no new work permits will be granted following March 5th. Well, these lower judges now are using these higher judges' ruling to then continue to renew these DACA recipients' work permits, thus making it so that we have to wait till June to find out whether or not this is going to be appealed. Now, if it does, if the Trump administration, gets this appealed, then we are going to see the talks again between Democrats and Republicans coming together to then negotiate on a Dreamers Act. But some people are saying that we shouldn't even negotiate with the Democrats. Some people are saying that this was unconstitutional to begin with, that it was illegal to begin with, and that Obama, having granted amnesty, did so illegally, and that we should not grant amnesty to any of these people because they were here illegally to begin with in the first place. We know that the Democrats only want to grant these people amnesty because they like to have them as voters. So that's why they're doing everything they can to push this back so that you can continue to have these amnesty workers renew their work permits until June. Well, gee, I wonder if they're going to try to keep and drag this thing out until after the midterm elections. That's what I'm hoping is not the case. I'm hoping that the Trump administration will get this appealed at the higher court levels, and that we're going to start to see some of these DACA recipients to start losing their ability to renew, which will then force the Democrats to come together and have a discussion about this DACA Act. And let's talk about building the wall. Let's talk about more budgeting for the security. We need to allow our border security to operate inside the United States and to make those arrests locally within states. Now, a large percent, actually about 40% of visa overstays are actually the main cause of the large amount of our illegal immigration population. You wouldn't believe it, but that's one of the number one things. People come here, they get a visa, and they just overstay. Well, that's one of the things that Democrats have criticized, saying, well, what's the use of a wall if people can come in here on visa overstays, and then within the United States, nobody's going to be deporting them. And you're going to have places like Colorado, as beautiful as it is, you're going to have Democrats all coming here deciding that this is going to be a sanctuary city and give refuge to people illegally, unconstitutionally, that are not United States citizens, and essentially violate the law. And it makes for a hard situation here. And that's why we need to talk about, all right, I get it. We don't want to have a lot of these DACA people here. A lot of people think, hey, it's not right to allow these people to come and stay. Their parents came here illegally. They benefit off the system. They were able to work under the table, not have to pay taxes. And essentially, they took advantage of the situation. Many of these DACA kids went off to universities. They got scholarships because they could qualify under, whatever diversity group they were under. And so people are upset. They're not happy about it. But I'll tell you one reason that we might want to talk about coming together on this with the Democrats. One reason is that it's going to be hard to try to get everyone to vote to get that budget and that law through so that we can get more financing for that internal security so that we can actually combat the problem of visa overstays as well as the wall. We need a wall, and I agree with Trump. It needs to get bigger, it needs to get taller, it needs to get stronger, and yeah, we need to put some barbed wire and some electricity in that fence to protect our borders, because we do not want cartels coming through here causing problems. I know that Colorado has had some cartel problems. They've also had some heroin problems out here, which a large amount of that is due to the cartels. And I'm just going to say, they recently had a heroin bust up in Denver just recently. 5 out of the 6 guys that were arrested with this huge heroin bust were illegal immigrants from Mexico, and they they reprimanded and they confiscated $500,000 worth of heroin off of the streets of Denver that these guys were selling and wiring the cash back to Mexico. So we have problems. People are dying because illegal immigrants want to come here, cheat the system, make money off of Americans by selling them heroin, selling them drugs, and then we have no security because Democrats want to say, hey, let's just keep the border open. Let's be bleeding heart liberals, and let's allow anyone and everyone to come through, including ISIS. So, I'm getting on a little bit of a rant here, guys, but you can see I'm pretty upset about how this has went down. How Democrats are refusing to come together, even though Trump and the Republicans have been willing to compromise, which many people say, don't compromise, we shouldn't compromise. But notice how even when you put your hand forward in an attempt to compromise and to try to make a deal with the Democrats, it's like making a deal with the devil in some ways. They just completely decided, hey, we're going to act like we're going to make a deal, and then we're just going to have our Democrat Supreme Court judges make rulings on their own and say, hey, we're halting this. We're going to push it off till June. We're going to continue to try to push it off as far as we can. Hopefully we can push it off until midterms and cheat the elections. So hopefully that doesn't happen, guys. This is why we need to spread this message. Please spread the word. We are being censored like crazy on Facebook, on Twitter, on YouTube. It's really bad on YouTube, but even so on Facebook, guys. So please spread the message, share the links, help us out. Infowarsstore.com. We need all the support we can get right now. We are in the battle of our lives right now. This is the information war, and if we don't start raising the funds and the means and the groups of people to start combating these giant corporations here that the Democrats have aligned themselves with, such as Google, for example, that decides to censor everyone, what are we going to do if we sit down and are complacent? We're going to fight back. We're going to voice it. Share the message, guys. This is why they're censoring us, is because people like me and others at InfoWars, we're willing to spread the message. We're willing to speak the truth, no matter how politically incorrect it may be to liberals and other people who are SJWs. So, share the message, guys. I love you. This is Millie Weaver signing off for Infowars.com.